Alright, so welcome back, guys, or welcome to your first time here. I'm Vision here with Boy Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going over the episode synopsises for episodes 12 through 16 of The Walking Dead Season 10. Now, if The Walking Dead is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. Down to miss more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. Now, let's begin. First up, we got episode 12 titled Walk With Us. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, with Negan's help, Alpha attacks Hilltop. Now, we kind of already saw a bit of this at the end of episode 11, and I feel like they switched this with episode 13 just because they were worried about doing Michonne's standalone episode and leaving it on a cliffhanger would annoy viewers, and I still stand by that. Now, with this episode, I do feel like there's kind of gonna be some sort of... I feel like they're lying to us, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like if you've seen the opening minutes, it looks like the battle takes place within the first opening minutes, and from there, our group is scattered, and they have to regroup after the fact. And I feel like majority of this episode is them gonna be hiding out, regrouping, which is kind of annoying, because, I don't know, I feel like the war part at Hilltop was a bit hyped, but then kind of fizzled out and went out with a whimper in somewhat of a way. So that's kind of disappointing. Now, the Negan stuff is interesting. I have an idea maybe that Alpha might not survive this episode, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Very interested to see what they do with this, especially with Negan and Alpha, given that Alpha's outlived her comic death. It definitely could happen here, but you never know. I do think it's possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But definitely curious to see what they do with this episode. But I have a feeling it's going to let me down and not have this massive war that they're talking about in the synopsis. But we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we got episode 13 titled What We Become. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, Michonne takes Virgil back to his home island to find his family. In exchange, Virgil offers weapons. Now, I have a theory that this is just going to be a Michonne standalone episode for her final episode. And I do feel like we might see Judith or something, possibly through flashbacks or just hearing her voice on the walkie-talkie. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this episode out. But I do feel like it's going to be just a standalone episode. Now, I do feel like, and I'm curious to see how this plays out with them getting the weapons back to our heroes, our survivors back at Hilltop in Alexandria. But my theory is Michonne heads off, however they write her out on her journey, and she leaves and has Virgil take the weapons back to our survivors and inform them of what she's doing. That's my prediction. And I don't know what that's my prediction right now. They could do something different, but I do feel like that's how it's going to happen. Maybe Virgil's island is badly overrun and Michonne has to get out there quick, and Virgil and her get separated, and he and his family find another way to get back to our survivors, and Michonne ends up separated and goes off on her own mission. I don't know, but I do have a feeling that they're going to separate and Virgil's going to get the weapons back to our survivors. But again, just a standalone episode. But let me know what you think, how Michonne's final episode will play out in the comment section down below. So we got episode 14 titled Look at the Flowers. Now the synopsis for this episode reads, everyone reckons in the aftermath of the Hilltop fire, Eugene leads a trip to meet Stephanie. Now, this is very interesting. My theory regarding this one is I feel like it's going to somewhat be another filler episode. Everybody probably meets up in this episode, and they're trying to come up with a game plan. Eugene probably tells everybody about the radio, at which point they give him the orders to go and meet Stephanie. And now we know that him, Ezekiel, and Yumiko at least are 3 that go. There's probably more. But my prediction right now is that that Yumiko goes representing, the Hilltop people. Eugene is representing the Alexandrians, and then Ezekiel representing the kingdom, even though it no longer exists. I could see him going there representing his own people. Now, I'm curious at the same time, because I do feel like there's going to somewhat be a filler episode. What else is going to be going on here? We could get some aftermath of Michonne leaving. I could see Alexandria trying to figure out their leadership issue. following Michonne's exit, trying to figure out what to do with Judith. I feel like there's a lot of things there that could go on, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of it's going to be filler. There might be some aftermath with the Whispers following Alpha's death if she dies in episode 12 or 13. I could see that possibly happening. But I don't know. This is a tricky one to predict, but I do still feel like it's going to be somewhat filler and kind of nothing big happens in this episode. But I could be wrong, but I still think it's going to be a bit of a small episode. One thing I do like about this episode is the title, Look at the Flowers, just because of how it is representative of episode 14 of season 4. And I find it funny. I don't know if this is coincidence, but this is episode 14 and they give it that title. I just find it interesting myself. But I'm curious to see what this is. And maybe this is where Alpha dies. Maybe Carol kills her and that line comes up here. I don't know. But this is a very interesting episode. I'm curious to see what they do with it. I feel like it's going to be filler, but at the same time, given the title it has, I could see them possibly doing something big with this one. But I don't have my hopes too high for it. Next, we got episode 15 titled The Tower. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads: the community's prep for the final battle of the Whisperer War while Eugene meets Princess. Now, this is a very interesting one. I'm curious of what's going to happen here. I think this will probably encompass a lot of the Whisperer War when they're fighting in the field. So I'm predicting mostly that. Now, we also got the thing about the tower. Now, I think I'm mixed about if this death will happen. I don't think it'll happen to Gabriel. I think it'll probably happen to a secondary B-list character. My pick right now would be Jerry. However, I don't know if they even had this death. I know it's not a big thing, but in season 8, they kind of showed a guy upside down from the water tower having been devoured. So I don't know. They might skip out on this death due to that. But I don't know. I feel like we could get some battles at this episode. However, at the same time, I feel like this could be more of a prepping episode. I feel like maybe we'll get Oceanside arriving at this point. I do think our group will regroup at the end of the previous episode. And maybe this is Oceanside arriving and our communities coming together. I could see them possibly ending this episode with someone at the water tower watching as the herd approaches. I don't know. I'll get into maybe why that happens for episode 16 when I reveal that one. But at this point, I feel like this is going to be mostly them prepping. Maybe, I don't know. This is a tricky one because, again, I feel like there could be some battles. But again, I feel like they could save them for the next half of the season and promote the Whisperer War for season 11. So I'm very confused and kind of trying to figure out where they're going to take this. Again, it could go many different ways, but honestly, right now, my main prediction is that it's going to end with whoever it is at the water tower seeing the herd arriving or coming towards Alexandria. And we got the story regarding Princess and Eugene running into her. Now, I'm curious to see how they remix this or if they do remix it, because I have a feeling that they are. And one of two things. I either have a theory that Princess is going to play a very small role here, and it's going to be very minimum, almost to non-existent at least. Maybe they run into her towards the end of the episode. I don't know. But another theory I do have is Princess knows Maggie. Now we know, I think it's almost been 100% confirmed at this point, that Maggie's returning in the finale. So my prediction maybe is that the two of them run into Princess, or Eugene's group runs into Princess, and somehow, somewhere or another, information returns to them that she knows Maggie or something like that. And maybe they end up with Princess, they go and run into Maggie's camp and spend the night there. I think that's possibly something that they could remix and do. I don't know. But I think that'd be something pretty cool and interesting. And maybe that's how we get Maggie's introduction. I do believe, and I think it'd be cool if Princess somehow turned out to be like one of Maggie's top lieutenants or something like that. I do think that'd be a pretty cool and interesting twist on the character, given how they had to remix a bunch of the TV show stuff due to Lauren Cohan leaving for last season. So I'm very curious to see what they're going to do here. And I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about the Princess character. A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people kind of are mad. Some people do like her. So I'm curious if they're going to tone her character down a bit just due to the fan base not really liking her kind of personality. So I'm curious as to how they're going to do her character on the show just due to some of the fan backlash that she got from the comics. But still very interested as well in what they do with this episode and how they introduce Princess and if they will remix it in any way, shape, or form. We got episode 16 titled A Certain Doom. Now the synopsis for this episode reads, Beta engages the final battle of the Whisper War. Now, going off of this, I'm going to assume right off the bat that Alpha dies before the season finale. So probably, I'm going to guess between episodes 12 and 14, somewhere between there. But this is my guess as of right now. We might have the battle be hold off into the season finale, get an epic finale where they're fighting in the woods, something like that, similar to the comics. And then I think towards the end of the episode, they return to Alexandria, thinking they're all safe. And then that's when they realize the herd's coming and Beta unleashes the herd. And I think the season will end with our group being surrounded in Alexandria by the horde. One of the reasons I also say that is because I heard people talking about how the season ends with a similar outcome to the No Way Out arc. So I feel like with that being said, it'll probably end somewhere around there. Now, in addition, like I said, we know Maggie will be back for this episode, at least. I think it's almost been confirmed, like I said. So my prediction is one or two things. Either she returns like at the very last 5 minutes, and from that kind of they adapt that comic cover where she is standing at the hill looking down at Alexandria. So that's one thing. Or my second prediction is that, like I said, she knows Princess and Eugene informs her of what's happening in this episode, and then she takes a group of people and returns home. Maybe sends Princess with Eugene's group. That way she to kind of do like recon on this new group that Eugene's going to look at, and she takes an army of soldiers to handle and help our Alexandrian group. That's my prediction right there for Maggie. Either that or she just returns like at the last 5 minutes. Either way, again, I feel like she's going to be kind of like the last 15 to 10 minutes return in this episode. I don't think she's going to have this huge role, but I do think she's going to play a major part in the end of the season. And I'm curious to see what goes on here regarding her role, as well as what else they could do with her character. But let me know your thoughts and predictions regarding the season finale in the comment section down below, as well as every other episode I have mentioned in the comment section down below. And if you know spoilers, please don't put them there. I will remove any spoiler comments because I do not want to be spoiled, nor do I want other people to be spoiled as well. So please don't leave them in the comment section down below. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts and predictions regarding these episodes of The Walking Dead Season 10. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way to miss any more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. And you can go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which are linked in the about section of my YouTube channel. As always, it's been Vision here with Boy Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.